ReefDudes is sponsored by Brightwell Aquatics and Bulk Reef Supply.
Today we get an update on the Waterbox 7225. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. So it's been about 5 weeks now since we did an update, so today we're gonna do a bit of an update, see how the torches are doing and everything else in the tank. So let's get to it. All right, now first and foremost, I'm getting asked a lot of questions on how the torches are doing since I did all those dips. All the heads are out and super happy, with the exception of that one head that just got poked in from the fish. But all the tentacles are out, they're nice and fluffy, they're puffy. And overall, I'd say the torches have been very happy. A couple of heads that I fragged off as well, same thing, they're out. It's still, you know, that everything does look good. I'm still waiting to see kind of like how long it takes to get more flesh band regrowing back down. So time will tell on that one, of course, but overall, I am gonna say that they do appear to be very happy and healthy. Coral-wise, we did change a few things around in here. I do have the World WWC grafted Monty, which I did move around to the front. It did used to be over here, but it's getting a little bit too cluttery, so this way it kind of has that area to grow out and gives a little more of a spacious look in the tank. Coming over to this side, I did clear out a bunch of stuff because it was, again, feeling way too cluttery. You can see a lot of the Euphilia I toned way down and moved a bunch over to the office tank. A lot of the stuff on the side is really starting to get fill in. Even taking a look at the green slime on the side, you can see all those little blunt tips from the algae scraper hitting it every time. So it's almost getting self-fragged. It's kind of funny seeing a little flat wall as the scraper makes its way through. I also took out the coral saw and cut some notches out of these to kind of keep them in place, so made it so they fit around the overflow wall a little bit better. Coming up above it, I did have another chunk of the Miyagi tort that was there. I did remove that as well just to kind of free up more space in this area, and it's a little more open. Might find a new kind of frag to put over there. Fish wise, everyone is happy and healthy as always. But you will notice I am starting to have a lot of corals starting to grow together and touch, so I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of fragging in here. And one part of me just kind of wants to be all natural and things grow how they grow, but the other part of me just knows that some of them are going to fight, so it's probably worth fragging off some of these branches. I have no idea what this guy is, but it is growing very well and slowly taking over and crusting everywhere. I'm trying to get new branches, so the purple and kind of greeny color looks pretty cool. So that should grow on pretty well. We got on top, my Walt Disney is finally starting to do something after years of being a little flat mound, so it's nice to see new growth. And of course we have the Rainbow Loom, which is basically taking over, starting to take over the overflow. And we come to the other side, we can see really just how much it is taking over. This one is really a beautiful coral and it is growing in quite nicely. You know, at one point, eventually it's going to be an issue if it grows too close to the teeth, so we'll have to figure that out when the time comes. But for now, quite happy with it. Now I haven't seen my acro crab in a while, but again, this guy, the cat's paw, is super bushy and it's kind of hard to see between the branches anymore as it fills in. There used to be a lot bigger gaps, and I guess my little acro crab, so hopefully he's in there somewhere. One coral I might pull out is some of these teal zoas. As you can see, they're kind of taken over. There was a bunch of other chaos that are basically buried in it now. So I'm going to try and find a way to tone those back and hopefully free up a little more space. You know, some of the purple monsters and stuff, again, they're kind of being taken over and hidden underneath those. So those are proving to be a little bit invasive. The diamond goby is still doing a fantastic job cleaning the sand bed. He's been slowly expanding his territory and cleaning other parts of the tank now, which is awesome. Now, one thing I am happy to see, my purple bonsai. I'm starting to get nice coloration tips. The bottom half was green for ages. And the last month or so, I've really started to get a lot more of the purples coming out again with the new growth. So hopefully that continues, because that's a really nice kind of contrast to the bright green tips and the deeper purple. Again, we come over here and you get to see the red dragon and the stiletta are starting to grow together. Almost looks like the red dragon is starting to win on that one and encrust over top of the stiletta. So it is always fascinating to kind of see which corals win when they're doing their kind of battle royale for space, but it's nice to see there's not any like massive die-off, but more just growing over top of the other, which is a nicer look in the tank. Back through the sea in the jungle there, we got the Jason Fox Fox Flame, and this one died off in the middle, and it is basically completely recovered. We have all new branches coming off now, so it is nice to see. When that did happen, it was starting to RTN STN, and I basically fragged off the middle of it, and I just took out the middle chunk and super glued the edges. And that did seem to work, as it's completely grown over it now. And similar thing happened over here. We had this Gawny, which was being quite aggressive, and I believe it is Red Planet that's above it. And that whole area was killed off basically, and there's a little bit of an edge. that was still there, and the edge is kind of growing up and to the right. So I'm hoping that will kind of retreat away from it and keep growing. There is lots of new growth tips, so that makes me happy to see, so there's some good potential. And this guy, Blue Matrix, it's kind of a nice contrast popping out of the orange and blue zoas all around it. This one, same thing, it hasn't done much in ages, but I'm finally starting to notice a little more growth on it, so always happy to see. Gonny Island, as always, is looking great. These guys have been really happy in this tank. For whatever reason, Gonnies seem to love my tank. I don't know why, but I will definitely take it because Gonnies are pretty awesome. I did debate doing a couple of Gonnies up where the torches were if I ever change it, some different ones, but just add more Gonnies instead. But the torches are starting to do pretty well, so we will, hopefully they recover and go back to their prior prime. This is an interesting one. This is Goldenrod Anacropora, and it's actually been a fairly good grower for me. I started with just a tiny little branch, and it's kind of gold with a little red polyps, so it's super cool looking, but yeah, it's crazy the amount of growth I've been getting out of it. Almost grows too fast considering how much it cost originally. Next over we have whatever this thing is. I believe it was a millie. It doesn't seem quite as polypy, but it is nice big red massive pink. It's probably one of my biggest spreading corals aside from the rainbow loom, but it adds a nice contrast, a nice kind of pinky purple in the tank. And over we got the Zoa Island, and I did add a few acros to this, which are starting to grow here. If we take a look in there, we do have the Reef Raft Tropicana, which we got that nice kind of orange Anacropora. It's much slower growing compared to the Goldenrod, the Green Goblin. And we also have, I believe that's Marvin the Martian. So that guy's starting to grow fairly well. My mystery golden one is getting very big and nice. I did frag off a chunk of that one and move to the office tank a while ago, and it's growing back quite nicely. It's a nice pop of gold, kind of comparison with the yellow tang, but it's a nice bright one. Now, if we look below the hood, we do have the Kelkster, and I have been playing with testing a bunch of different props and blades inside of it. You can kind of see it is, a nice fairly milkiness overall to it. I'm still dosing as well as the calc, as well as the calcium reactor, so it's a bit of a trifecta of methods. I still got to install this, but I did run an EB832 over here. I currently have an older EB8 tucked up in the back, but I do want to take advantage of power monitoring, just to know how much my heaters, how much everything's drawing. So I am going to upgrade and put this one in. This was my spare just to have it on hand, but the EB8 is going to be the new spare, and we'll put this one in. And at least we'll be able to see how much power everything's drawing on the tank and use that to up our monitoring a little bit more. Now, if we come to the back of the tank, this little crack that I left, basically for the MP60s originally, has proved to be incredibly useful because of all the wires and stuff I can run up there. So my RDI container beside the tank is used for basically to feed the auto testers. So between the Trident, Alcatronic, Mastertronic, whatever needs RDI, it pulls from this container. Now I added a solenoid into this, and I also put a Y in the auto top off. So when the auto top off is filling, if the solenoid is open, it also tops off this container. Now I did previously use it just kind of be open on Fridays, so it only happened once a week during auto top off time. But since I'm using the calc, I don't really use my auto top off anymore, very periodically. So basically one thing super cool that I found is these liquid level sensors just fit inside the mouth of this, which is amazing because I cannot fit a float valve or anything else inside. So it's very tricky with such a small mouth. So I did order the 15-inch version, which should be here probably at the end of the week. And I'm gonna put that in there and use that to control the solenoid now. So it could open and close when required, which is gonna be a really cool way to have it autofill itself and give me that extra level of safety. If we come back over to the controller board, I did redo a ton of this wiring a while back, and it was very tricky to get all of the auto testers fitting inside of here. So you will see I did make the mini Trident, which I think is actually pretty sweet. Same hardware, just different enclosure, made it a little more compact, and don't have to fiddle with the tray to access the reagents. It's all just sitting in its own little tray in front. So I think that worked out pretty cool, and it was a fun little project. Took bazillion years to print, but aside from that, it is working out well. Now, one other thing you might remember from one of my prior videos is I ran from my current solar panel in my batteries to run a battery backup wire. So these are running off my outside solar panels to provide backup to the MP60s in the tank in the event of a power outage. And we did have one for about 6 hours ago, a few weeks back, so it actually proved to finally kick in and work pretty well. I am looking at potentially upgrading that so I can run more of the tank off battery backup and kind of have more redundancy. So that might be a future project in the next little while. Now I did also upgrade the LED boards to G5s, or G6s rather, a little while ago. And one thing that still blows my mind is looking underneath some of these ledges, how the zoas are growing on the underside of the rocks right now. Like, it is crazy how much growth is happening. So it really does go to show how much more spread and phyllite we're getting from them. And just same goes for even some of these, like my purple bonsai. Just certain corals are just starting to look way better and getting better colors. I'm getting really good growth. So overall, I am very happy with the upgrade. And I get asked all the time, is it worth upgrading G5s to G6? And that's a hard one because the G5s are still awesome, but I am very, very happy with the G6 as well. Alright guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this update on the Waterbox 7225. If you did, as always, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. If you got any questions, let me know in the comments below. Catch you guys on the next update.